John Surratt, thank you so much. We're starting things out a little bit on a muggy note with some of us looking at some patchy fog across the two Virginias. Otherwise, as we head into the afternoon, we're going to be generally cloudy, not looking at much in the way of precipitation, at least not compared to the last couple of days. But starting out over in Beckley, West Virginia on our weather camera, sort of a slow start to the morning, not a whole lot of activity going on, but we do have that patchy fog that you see on that camera there. And visibility sensors around the area, not looking much better. Oak Hill coming in at about half a mile. Lewisburg and Beckley both a quarter of a mile visibility. Hinton and Pineville also joining Oak Hill in that half-mile visibility range. Down on the Virginia side, we are seeing some fog, but not as heavy as up in the north. Richland's coming in at about 5-mile visibility with Whitfield 7. So, of course, as you're stepping out the door and on those roadways, use that extra caution. Low beams when driving through fog, and leave a little extra space between the car in front of you and yourself. Now let's look at these temperatures because we're a little cooler than we were starting out yesterday morning. Raynell coming in at 62 degrees. Bluefield and Princeton both 63. Over in parts of Fayetteville and Beckley, we've got 64. Pineville coming in at 68 and Welch 66. If we get a look at the satellite radar, you can see the heavier cloud cover that we're starting out with this morning. It's going to be heavier along the central parts of our region, all the way from Bluefield into Beckley. Lewisburg looking at some heavier clouds as well. And if we look at the mowing forecast, you can see today's still not going to be the best day for some outdoor yard work. We're going to be generally cloudy, but not as dry as we will be heading into the weekend. Today we have the chance for a couple stray showers sometime between 3 and 5 p.m. But as we head into Saturday and Sunday, we're going to see those conditions improve quite a bit. We're looking at a good bit of sunshine for Sunday itself, and Saturday looks to be pretty nice as well, with partly to mostly sunny skies. And that's going to be thanks to high pressure. It's going to start to settle in our region as we head throughout the day today, and the start of our Saturday. That's going to be bringing in some dry air from up north while this cold front sags down towards the south. And that's going to be some pretty nice weather. Dew point is going to be lingering in maybe the upper 50s, low 60s, so still not excessively dry, which is great news for our drought conditions. Now, heading into the start of next week, this trough is going to start to dip down a little bit. That's going to be giving us some cooler temperatures and the chance for some thunderstorms as a couple disturbances work their way through our area. So expect a bit of a stormy start to next week after we see a break from the rain today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Now, let's get a look at the latest drought monitor published yesterday. We've had some very nice improvements across the two Virginias. Most of our area was under that severe drought. That orange color that you're seeing here, that was all the way in parts of Summers County, Raleigh County, Wyoming, Mercer. But you can see that has been dropped, and now those areas classified under a moderate drought instead. Still under a drought. It's not completely over, but this is something to be optimistic about, especially as we head throughout next week with a chance for more storms on the way. Now, looking at the futurecast, we're going to start to have cloudy conditions throughout the afternoon. Starting around 3 o'clock, we could see a couple stray showers popping up. It's going to be lighter rain today, not quite as heavy as we've seen in the previous days. But as we head into the evening hours, a lot of that will start to taper off, and we're to be generally cloudy tonight. If we have some clearing by tomorrow morning, could see some more patchy fog developing across the mountains and some of the valleys. Otherwise, Saturday afternoon and into the evening hours, staying mainly sunny with a small chance for a pop-up shower. Now, as we head into Sunday, that chance will continue to stay low, looking at some more sunshine on deck. But like I mentioned at the start of next week, we've got storms returning, and temperature is going to be cooler as well, sitting in the mid and upper 70s. And then after that, we really look to warm back up into the 80s as the chance for storms continue. That's all I've got for you. And here at South Park in the Mansfield area, we're going to be taking a look at the total solar eclipse. Totality here in Mansfield. At 3:12 p.m., cheers erupted across Richland County, Ohio, as the moon eclipsed the sun in a breathtaking display of nature. Crowds of out-of-towners gathered at South Park, while locals stepped out the doors of their own homes to experience totality, which lasted a grand total of 3 minutes and 19 seconds here in Mansfield.
It was miraculous.
Kind of mind-blowing, right?
Yes, it was mind-blowing, absolutely. And it was worth it to do that because, for all of us, this is our last one. We're never going to see another one again. So how lucky were we that we ended up here in the light on this day?
Very lucky indeed. Thank you so much. The partial solar eclipse, also called first contact, began at 1:57, with onlookers needing to have special eclipse glasses to view it. That is, until second contact, when totality causes night to fall, allowing the stars and planets to shine in the middle of the day. It is during this phase when we are able to see the sun's corona, the wispy, white outer layer of the sun's atmosphere. Third contact signals the end of the darkness as the moon moves out of perfect alignment with the sun. Oddly enough, though, it didn't feel like sunrise. It was a unique experience where darkness and light seemed to intermingle. Fourth contact marks the moment where the moon is no longer obscuring the sun and the eclipse is over. The next coast-to-coast total solar eclipse won't be for over 20 years, falling on August 12th, 2045. Here for you in Mansfield, Ohio, I'm meteorologist Jeffrey Hoole. But that rotation signature has been holding pretty strong over the last several minutes. Now, this is tracking up towards the north and east, and you can see there's not a visible hook. Whenever you have a tornado warning, sometimes you can see sort of like a hook, but this one, the rotation seems to be right within the storm. That means if there is a tornado on the ground, it's likely very hard to see. So don't wait until you see a tornado. If you're in the path of the storm, make sure to get out of it, get to your safe spot. Best place would be a basement, but if you can't get towards a basement, another good spot would be, of course, the interior of your home. Anywhere away from windows, because you don't want any debris to be coming through that window, causing glass to shatter, and of course putting your life at risk. Now you can see we're looking at some pretty heavy precipitation with this system. That's going to be just off towards the west of Falling Spring. So if you are in Falling Spring, you're in the path of this tornado. Make sure to head indoors and get to your safe spot. Now, as this is tracking off towards the north and east, it's also going to be coming into parts of Pocahontas County. National Weather Service in Charleston currently monitoring this system very closely as it enters the region, because that rotation signature is still holding pretty strong. So if you are driving out and about and you happen to be within the vicinity of the storm, you're likely not going to see a tornado. It's likely going to be obscured by all the falling rain. And we've got some pretty heavy rainfall with this system. Now, in particular, this is a little bit far away from the Blacksburg radar system. And the farther out you are from a radar, the harder it is to get the finer details. But this is still looking to be pretty strong, especially these outbound winds. The winds that are in red or pink are going to be flowing away from the radar. So you've got these winds going up towards the north, and then the green winds down towards the south. And in the middle of that, that's going to be where that rotation is centered. And with this storm moving up towards the north and east, you can see it's got winds of up to 66 miles per hour based on velocity estimate going towards away from the radar, with the winds going towards it a little bit weaker because we don't have quite as bright green. But this is still a very good looking rotation signature, but it's a little disorganized because you can see they're not quite as close together as they were before. So that could indicate that despite the stronger winds, it may be losing some of that steam, some of that rotation. But once again, you're not going to be seeing that because it's likely wrapped up in rain. Now, this is going to continue to move off towards the north and east along 219, heading into parts of southern Pocahontas County. So once again, if you are in the path of this storm, make sure to take cover. Now, if you happen to be on the back end of this system and you think it's safe to do so, head outside, check on your neighbors. If there is any damage, report it to the National Weather Service or your local emergency services offices. As this moves off towards the north and east, Jackhawks, you guys are next up. That's going to be towards you about 5:58. So within the next 10 minutes, make sure to take shelter. Now, we also have this little band up here, so it's kind of harder to pinpoint exactly where the center of that rotation is. That's a great sign because that means we're getting a little messier as far as the velocity goes. And we also have steady to moderate rainfall in parts of Summers, Monroe, and Greenbrier. Now, check this out. This was actually from our first tornado warning last night. This was in Pocahontas County, Hillsborough, West Virginia, from Lonnie Fogus on Facebook. Recorded yesterday, and you can see that definitely looks like a little bit of rotation, a pretty nice looking funnel. You can see the spinning in that video there. The National Weather Service over in Charleston is going with a touchdown confirmed tornado for this. Still in the talks whether or not they're going to send out a survey crew to survey damage, but we're going to keep you guys updated with the latest.